After a break of 3 weeks, the Downhill World Cup resumed its activities, moving from the wind and snow of the previous round in Sierra Nevada, Spain, to the hot and sunny conditions greeting the riders in Canada. And as you would expect, all of the world's top downhill racers were present and correct. Missy Giove, Anne-Caroline Chausson, Giovanna Bonazzi and Elke Brutzart, to name just a few. But first off, we're going to take a rider's eye view of the downhill course. 3-kilometre course at Mont Sainte Anne is probably the only course on the World Cup circuit to combine almost a perfect division between terrain that is both technically and physically demanding. It is regarded, along with Cap d'Agde in France, as the downhill event to win. It drops over 600 metres from start to finish, is steep, rocky, technical and slow in the woods, has snow-style slalom gates at the top and bottom of the course, but is also super fast on the open sections. In short, a terrific downhill course. The first rider we're taking a look at is the Spanish-American GT rider Mercedes Gonzalez. 7th fastest in the semis, Gonzalez headed out of the start gate, the former 9-times American motocross champion, intent on improving on her previous best ride of the season, a 4th place in the season opener in Stellenbosch, South Africa. Riding cautiously over the rocky top section of the course on her plastic, yes I did say plastic, frame GT, and sporting disc brakes and 6 inches of travel at both the front and rear ends of the bike, Gonzalez knew that a certain amount of caution is required on the Mont Sainte Anne course if a rider wants to both finish and get a good result. Into the middle section of the course, Gonzalez was comfortably in the top 10 at the halfway checkpoint. With a background in motocross, Gonzalez, as you would expect, is a brilliant bike handler and knows how to spot a good line in an instant of a second. Reaching the last fast part of the course, she looks smooth on her bike, if a little slow. More pedalling wouldn't go amiss here. Gonzalez only started riding mountain bikes in 1994, and in her first year on the World Cup circuit the next year, she finished a brilliant 8th overall. In 1996, she finished an even better 4th, and in those 2 years, she finished 9th and 6th here at Mont Sainte Anne. Looking for a better placing in 97, she sped towards the finish, eventually crossing the line in a time of 6 minutes, 43.75 seconds. Good enough for a final 5th spot, her best ever at the Canadian course. Next woman to go was the dual slalom specialist, intense Maxis rider and bit part downhiller, Cherry Elliott. This short, stocky rider has had only a brief liaison with the Grundig World Cup. Her first World Cup race, and indeed only result in 1995, was when she finished 6th at Big Bear, a typically fast, non-technical American course. 1996 saw her compete in just 4 of the 6 race Grundig series, with the best placed 10th at the super technical Nevogale course in Italy. But in her first World Cup race for 1997 at Mont Sainte Anne, Elliott was clearly having problems with the technical nature of the Canadian course. Like Gonzalez before her, Elliott didn't seem to be using the open, faster sections of the course to gain more speed. Indeed, she didn't look like she was handling the middle section of the course as well as the Spanish-American rider before her. Looks can be deceptive. The former Mountain Cycles and KHS rider, who's always had a problem finding and indeed keeping a sponsor, sped into the bottom section of the course. Riding conservatively and staying mainly in the saddle, Elliott was looking like she would beat that previous best result achieved at Big Bear in 1995. Despite her rather ragged run through the top half of the course, Elliott was clearly on for a good time. Out of the saddle and pumping furiously, she crossed the line over 6 seconds faster than the previous fastest rider, Gonzalez, in a time of 6 minutes 37.43 seconds. Good enough for an eventual 4th place, her best World Cup result. Elder stateswoman of women's downhilling and darling of the crowds, Giovanna Bonazzi was the next rider off. The 2-time world champion in 1991 and 1993, but never the World Cup champion, Bonazzi started the 1997 season in a new multi-rider team for the first time in her career. Attacking the top section of the course more aggressively than either Elliott or Gonzalez had done, Benassi was clearly up for the ride. The Sintesi Velici rider is one of the few female riders on the World Cup circuit that can do well no matter what type of course she's riding. Pick technical, fast or both. Handling the technically difficult woody section with confidence, Benassi tore into the fast middle section of the course. Looking faster than the two previous riders, she nevertheless rode conservatively round the turns. Not for nothing is Benassi known as the most upright woman on the circuit, i.e. she very rarely crashes. Coasting into the last part of the course, Benassi looked fast and smooth. Out of the turn, it was clearly evident that the Italian was giving it everything, her head bobbing furiously. With the second here in 1995 behind Frenchwoman Nolwenn Lecaillère, Benassi could only go one better, first. Into the home straight, the qualified ski instructor and former cross-country rider elected to stay seated and cross the line in a time of 6 minutes 30.47 seconds, almost 7 seconds faster than Elliott. She was clearly extremely delighted.
6:30.47, the former ski instructor from Verona, Italy.
These Italians surely know how to celebrate, don't they? But that left just two riders to go, the two pre-race favourites, one the defending World Cup champion, the other the world champion. The first of these, Volvo Cannondale rider Missy the Missile Giove, was hoping to take her first World Cup victory of the year. Back in 1993, Giove achieved her first ever World Cup victory here on the Mont-Sainte-Anne course. And if she was going to have any chance of overall victory in the World Cup, she needed to win this race. Looking good if slightly on the edge, Giove hammered through the top rocky section, into the woods, and she was smoothness personified. By the time she hit the open middle section, Giove was tanking along, looking a million times faster than all of the previous riders. Hitting practically perfect lines, she used the berms to astonishing effect, even though she almost hit a tree doing it. Lying second in the World Cup with a third and 2 seconds in the first 3 races of the series, Giove knew she had to win here to halt the march of French superwoman Anne-Caroline Chausson. Always known for giving everything in a race, some would say too much at times, Giove broke her collarbone here in 1995. She was clearly on for a very good time. Possessing remarkable strength and speed, given her modest stature, the Volvo Cannondale rider blasted the final 50 metres of the course, crossing the line an astonishing 21.27 seconds faster than Benassi, the previous fastest rider. Her time, 6 minutes 9.2 seconds. What a brilliant run. Absolutely astonishing, and that hurt. That meant that only one woman could now beat her, the woman in your picture, Team Sun Knight Anne-Caroline Chausson. Wearing the #1 plate and orange jersey of World Cup leader, Chausson needed a brilliant run if she was to win her 3rd World Cup race on the trot. Without doubt the most technically gifted rider of the women's circuit, Chausson was obviously in the mood for a fight. Perhaps too much so, as she almost lost the back end of the bike coming out of the rocky top half of the course. And like Giove before her, Chausson dealt with the woody technical section as though it didn't exist. If the Frenchwoman has a weakness, it's her relative lack of strength and speed. Not surprising given the fact that she's only 19 years of age. Using the same line as Giove in the middle section of the course, Chausson looked just as quick as the American Volvo Cannondale rider. But she hasn't done what Giove has though, won at Mont-Sainte-Anne. Second here in 1996 behind 1995 world champion Lee Donovan, being her best result. Out of the last serious turn, the 3-time junior world champion and current senior world champion was looking strong and powerful. The winter months spent training in the gym and on the road clearly having a major effect on her strength. Through the last chicane, there was only a few seconds in it, and as the World Cup leader powered over the line, the result board showed her what she didn't want to see. Missy Giove had beaten her by exactly 1.5 seconds. Chausson's time, 6 minutes 10.7 seconds. The porcupine hairstyle one clearly delighted. Missy told us afterwards how she felt about her win.
Oh, I don't really know. I almost died. I can't hold on, but I'm okay. I was not maybe going to race this race run, but I did, and I'm glad I did, but it was a fight the whole time. I'm drooling on camera.
There it is, the first of the season, huh?
Oh, yes it is. Let me just tell you, it was hairy. It was very hairy. That's the hardest course of the year. That's the hardest course I've ever done so far. It was unbelievably hard. It's just fatiguing, and I cut my tendon, cut my hand a few weeks ago, and I would just say it was a challenge to come down. I didn't even know if I was going to make it on podium, let alone win. I just tried my hardest. It's not easy.